I'm Matt Pratt. I'm with Operations Field Services, work in Lansing with Todd, and he asked me today to come out and talk a little bit about our MDSS and our AVL websites and the sensors on our trucks and the sensors on our winter maintenance trucks and herbicide trucks. So just to give a little background, I think we're going on our 5th year with AVL in our plow trucks, our winter maintenance trucks. We started out, we rolled the project out. We started at the beginning of October and we outfitted about 300 trucks before the winter season. So we were really scrambling when we awarded the contract. Our contract is with Parsons, and we subcontract out our maintenance decision support system with Iteris. So it's a one contractor for us to deal with, but they supply us both the information. Here I have our AVL website up on the screen. So we have 300 trucks approximately across the state. Live trucks are green on our screen, so when we log in, we can just look on the screen. If we see a green truck, we know at least the key is on. The difference between our winter maintenance trucks, they have a front plow on them, and our spray herbicide trucks kind of look like a spray herbicide trucks. So this year we piloted putting AVL in our herbicide trucks. We have 5 trucks. 5 trucks outfitted. One of the differences between our winter maintenance trucks and our spray truck is there's a monitor in the cab in the spray truck, and the driver actually gets in and he fills out a log where he inputs what he's spraying, where he's spraying. He can check the weather. He can get weather recommendations on the screen or wind speed, which is important for spraying herbicides. You can't have the chemicals blowing everywhere. So it's nice that all that information is right in the cab for the operators to see. And then when he's done at the end of the day, after he's been spraying, he can just hit a end of shift report. And I believe it emails our central office all the amount of chemicals he used, what chemicals he used, where he sprayed, and so we can keep track of all that information. Instead of our old way was fill out a paper log, send it sometime to Todd, and it'd get reviewed at the end of the year. Well, now we can instantly review all that information. So last year we piloted it in our Southwest region where we put all our plow trucks on our MyDrive website, which is a public website. So if you were to go onto our MyDrive website, you may see a blue or purple icon. And those are our plow trucks. And the only way our plow trucks will show up is if they're performing a winter maintenance operation. So if they're spreading salt, if their underbody blade is down, they have to be on a state route. So if they're meeting all that criteria, it'll show up on the map. If it's blue, it's just a truck, and if the truck is outfitted with a camera, it'll be purple. You can click on the truck and actually see a camera image looking straight out where the driver's, you can see what the driver's seeing. So, you know, if you want it,
available on the web in real time.
Yep, and if you, we take a picture every 2 minutes, and there's about a 15-minute lag, I think, 10 or 15-minute lag from the time it takes a picture to it gets sent all over, then out to our MyDrive website. So every 2 minutes, it'll get a new picture. This year, we're rolling it out to all of our winter maintenance trucks throughout the state. We're fortunate here in Michigan, we got really good cell coverage. We have a few of our rural areas that it'll store the information, then once it gets into good cell coverage, it'll upload all the information. So the system will store it, collect it and store it until we get to good cell coverage. But we are pretty fortunate, even up in our UP, our Upper Peninsula, we have pretty good cell reception, which is challenging for a lot of states that, you know, they have to come into a Wi-Fi area, you know, that before that'll upload all the information. Here's our MyDrive website. You can see here on the left of the screen, it says snowplow trucks and snowplow trucks with cameras. Now nothing's gonna pop up now because I can't imagine hopefully no one's out salting today, right? It's cold enough, it feels like. But you would just see all the plow trucks that are active on the map. You want to go to some of the reporting things? So this is a spray log report. This is what the driver inputs into the cab of the truck, and it gets sent out, and then it pulls out a report like this. Now, I can't explain it because I know nothing about herbicides, so Todd, if you want to...
Oh, yeah, I'd be happy to, man. One thing about our spray log is we went right off from the Department of Ag's regulations, where we have to record certain information. So we started there, and then we added our MDOT helpful information like gallons used and just for record keeping. And through Delcan or Parsons, they created this for us, and with everything that we wanted. And like Matt was saying earlier, it's on the screen in the truck. So as the operator starts the day, they can fill this out on the screen of the truck. Where it used to be a clipboard, piece of paper, try to remember to document all the information. Get it done at the end of the day. You might be in a hurry. You forget some information, critical information. But this is set up to where they can't advance through the spray log without filling out certain information. They can't submit it. So at the end of the day, when the operator is done, they just literally hit the submit button, and this travels through the net, and then we can pull it off at any screen instantaneously. So if you can imagine that compared to paper copies covering 83 counties, a lot of times we get spray logs from the regions that are through the mail, you know, the snail mail. So, and then we have to deal with them, they have to deal with their copy. It's cumbersome. So this has really been a game changer for herbicide applications for us. As long as you're doing a job with the actual spray truck, you could be running a hose out to a hose reel and spraying, you can still use this log. We haven't tried it or even thought about trying it yet with like a backpack sprayer or a handheld pump-up sprayer. One of the sensing items that we use on our spray trucks is just a flow meter. So what it will do is it'll drop a breadcrumb on a map anytime the flow travels through the main line. So remote applications with a backpack, not sure if we haven't even really given that any thought yet. It's so new. This is our first year of doing it in the pilot, so I would have to think there are ways that within the truck that you take out, you know, you'd be able to enter a lot of basic information, and there are areas on here where you could just free write. I mean, you could put in any type of notes that you'd want to put in.
And so, that's our goal.
And now with the MDSS regulations, we have to be able to record every year how many acres of roadside we spray, how many gallons of product we use of particular brands or whatever we're using in our program. So with this, if you can imagine with having it exported in an Excel document, I mean, from there you can do any type of database totals. Yeah, right from the computers. We have to download the report from the AVL website, go into the reporting, and we can break it down. We can run the whole year report, which would be pretty lengthy, and we can break down any particular truck. Right now, all 5 trucks are in there that you scroll through. You can break it down per day, but at the end of the year, this will be our first year with final reporting. So.
This I can't wait on, because one of the cool features that I'm jealous that they have in the herbicide is they have a map that when they're driving down the road, when they come into a no spray area, it shows up on the map and says, hey, turn this off. And there's other protective areas that show up on that map. And
we've got 4 or 5 shape files that we've had Delcan add into the background for us. There's shape files that we've created, and some are available like Driftwatch. If anybody's familiar with Driftwatch, we got all their shape files, so we can add those onto our map. So as the operator's driving down the road on just our standard map, those areas are highlighted, so they will know that either don't spray there or use special care. You know, we're creating maps on invasive weeds right now using the Collector app. We're collecting Phragmite, Japanese knotweed. There's a whole list of maps or invasives that we're collecting. As that map changes, we throw those on there too in a shape file. So those will be handy down the road.
So you can change.
Possibly, yeah. I'm trying to think of any other cool maps we have. Sensitive areas, we have some people that just, regardless of what you say or do, they do not want herbicides on their property. And we honor that. You know, we try to be good neighbors and have a plan B. We put those locations on there too. So federal forest permitted areas are on there. They're all mapped out. For the UP. We haven't done northern lower yet, but we did the UP for federal permitted areas.
We have a lot of crops and we get a lot of drift claims, even if we're not spraying at that location, if there's any damage to the crop. We have to file a claim. 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 We have like always.
Yeah. Things like this will definitely help. The camera image will definitely help. It's set up to take a picture
Every 2 minutes.
every 2 minutes. And that is, for the pilot, we wanted to test out as many bells and whistles as we could. We weren't even sure what we were going to do with the camera at this point. And at first, some people were like, why do we need a camera? But now the consensus is everybody that's got them on their truck, they want one.
So what's the cost of the system per truck?
4,000? Is it roughly $4,000? Roughly $4,000 to outfit a truck.
That's software and everything, hardware and software.
Just the equipment. Software, these guys, you could probably.
Yeah, the software we even had in place for the length of the contract for the snow movement or the snow operations. Well, how much do we spend on that yearly? 1,000 a year.
Trying to remember. It's been a while. I know we had to like add this wholesale, like the software development to add this in, and also to purchase the equipment. I think it was 38,000.
Yeah, about
And
40,000.
then the development they had to do to pre-cover the side aspect.
So given that we already had the system, just adding these new features was about 40,000. We'd have to get back with you on how much it is yearly for our winter maintenance trucks.
It's kind of broken down by like, how much we charge for the cell service and maintenance of the system. And
But the software part of it, obviously 5 trucks, that's kind of expensive, but we put in a request for purchase on 15 more, so it just the hardware cost from that point on.
Yep, right. The
You know.
software's already developed.
If I was just going off memory, I was involved in this
There we
project
go.
too a little bit. The AVL boxes were somewhere around $2,700 roughly, and then when you added on all of our other sensors for winter, the sensors like this and a few other things, you're around $3,300, $3,500 per truck. And then cell service for the winter, where $30, $40 a month per truck. We run them through the winter months, but then for these 5 trucks, you guys are extending that cell service, for the spray program. So that's just off memory that we were doing a few years ago.
So some of the other things we're collecting on our winter maintenance trucks, we're collecting engine vehicle data. There's a report if you want to click on there, one of the Excel reports. So we can run reports by collecting that vehicle engine data, like idle reports. So if we have a policy where we don't want excessive idle, 5-minute idle time, and well, we have some trucks that may idle longer than that, and it's just a way for us to track it. And a lot of times when we do have an excessive idle, there's a reason for it. Maybe they're doing a rolling lane closure or something like that, but it's just a way for us to capture that. It breaks it out by day, and we have idle time, excessive idle time, and it just it breaks it down per day, per truck. As far as sensors for our winter maintenance trucks, we have an underbody blade sensor, so we can tell when the underbody blade is down. We have mercury switches on our wings, so we can tell when the wings are down. We have sensors on our tow plow, so we can tell when those blades are down. We have weather, air and pavement sensors in the trucks, so we're reporting that information back. And our Dickie John spreader controller, we know what material, we track what material they're what they're putting out on the road, so we can run reports at the end of the year what salt they were using, if they're using a salt sand mix. We can add application rates, so whenever they change the controller in the cab, it keeps track of that, so we can keep track of that. We can keep track of blast applications, so we have our spreader lets them put out an excessive amount of salt for treating a bridge deck or a really icy area, so we can keep track of those applications. And then the other part of this whole system is our MDSS. So our air temperature and pavement temperature gets fed back to our MDSS folks, and we have, I'm not exactly sure how many routes that we get maintenance forecast weather for, but this map here is showing our MDSS routes. There's a truck, and if you click on the truck in this website, it'll give you a plow position, speed, what lane they're in. So we're able to collect that kind of information. But for an operator that has a monitor in the cab of the truck, we have, I think we're at about 75 monitors out of our 300 plow trucks. They can get other information, such as the radar. So we have our radar that our iTerrace sends the radar to the trucks. Maintenance recommendations. Can you just click on a map somewhere, anywhere on the map? Or a route, whatever. And click on table. So it'll give us a maintenance recommendation in the cab of the truck saying that based on your route, based on what road we told them we have, a concrete or asphalt road, what the base is, and all the characteristics of the route, cycle time, traverse time, they'll make a recommendation to the driver saying, we think you should put out this much salt. And it's pretty detailed. I mean, a day like today with the sun out heating up the pavement, it'll alter their recommendation. Trying to think what else the driver gets. They get forecasted weather. They get maintenance recommendations, and local and regional radar, so they can zoom in and get the radar, so, which helps them. You know, is the storm is it ending soon? Do I need to put another round of material out? It just helps with that decision-making process when they're in the cab of the truck. This is I don't know what. You want to explain this, Melissa?
Here you're just looking at the table view of all the recommendations and the weather predictions in a graph view. Breaks it all down.
Our supervisors log on to the iTerrace website, which is the weather website, and that's where they're making a lot of their decisions. It'll have start and stop time for the storms, and for the most part they were pretty happy with it last year, except for some of the areas that are have the lake effect snow. Thank you. They still have a little issue with the lake effect snow, but as far as start and end times, it's been pretty accurate. It'll say on the table view, you know, road patrol is recommended. So it may say at 3 in the morning, you may want to call someone and have them come out and do some road patrol. So it's helped taking some of that decision making, help the supervisors with that decision making process.
Like in the traffic live updates, the
Oh.
maintenance recommendations.
Yeah, so the maintenance recommendations will update as the driver is going down the road. I think every 15 minutes, iTerrace will send another maintenance recommendation, so it's constantly changing. So it's not that they get into the truck at the beginning of the shift, and that's the maintenance recommendation. You know, whenever they look at it, they may see a different recommendation, or it could stay the same. Yeah.
Do they have to acknowledge things on the screen, or does it just pop up? We're getting ready to go with the test run, and there's a lot of concern that the driver's going to be distracted, you know, messing with the iPad.
So our screens get locked out. Once you're going 5 miles an hour, they can't do anything to the screen, so they have to be stopped. We had a lot of complaints because the guys on night shift, that screen's pretty bright. So we have a dim feature in there, and now they just worked out a feature for night view, kind of like a GPS Garmin, you know, how it switches to a night. So we're working on that, changing automatically. But as far as the monitor goes, you know, we tell our operators if you're having a hard time, or if it's distracting to you, you can just power it off and power back on when you need it. Because just turning the power off to the monitor isn't going to affect the system. The system's still going to run.
So you're not really pushing direction back out to them through the iPad. They can just use it to look and see, and then you're pulling from the iPad
Right.
for your purposes. And
Right.
I got you.
How many trucks do you have equipped with AVL, and that is a certain percentage, all of them?
We have right around 300, 310. So when we outfitted them, I think we chose a cutoff of trucks 2009 and newer we outfitted. And then as we replace trucks, they'll be getting installed. So it's almost, I would say almost like 70% of our winter maintenance trucks, or 75%.
But you should know that's what we do.
Oh,
The majority of our winter maintenance is contract counties.
yeah, so we have,
We only do about 25, 30.
yeah, we contract out to 65 direct contract agencies, and then we have 30 direct force garages throughout the state.
Do they have access to the system too, the input?
The counties?
Yeah.
We're trying to get them access to it. We're, you know, it's anything new, you know, people are reluctant to use it. So last year we did a statewide tour, invited all the counties, showed them the website, gave them usernames and passwords, because we feel it's only going to benefit us as a state, the more information they can get. This year we have had a lot of requests for that same information. So they didn't quite get it last year, so we're going to do our tour again this year and try to get them using the system.
Yeah, as you can see, the routes around the state are a little variety. We have a lot of our direct force garages down here. So you can see where our direct force garages are. And like we talked, we're trying to expand into the counties. We're talking about piloting with them, adding one route in their county, see how it goes, because we won't have that AVL feedback of their controller information and their maintenance action. But there's different ways of gathering that information more manually, and that's how other states do it, because other states are using the same system without the AVL piece. So there's still benefits. So we're looking at exploring how we can work with the counties so we can continue to get benefits out of this system further.
I had a quick question. The recommendation in snow and ice removal, and I think you may have touched on this. Do you have a way of tracking where the operator complied with the recommendation?
Yeah, there's a report in MDSS that will let you know what the recommendation was versus what the action was that was taken. Most of the time, we're not utilizing that report right now. It's an active management system to see what we're doing, because sometimes there's a reason to not follow what the MDSS recommendation was, and it's justified. And then we use that justification to help improve the MDS system, give them feedback on, hey, you recommended this, but the action was this, and we'd like to see it go in that direction. So.
Yeah, we really stress to our operators that this isn't to take away from their years of experience, but it's just a recommendation on our new salting practices. So we're not trying to push out their decision-making process. It's more of a guide for them right now.
Yeah.
Does your management agree with that statement, or executive management?
So far, I mean, they've been on board. I mean, I haven't heard of anyone go to any garage throughout the state to say, how come you did this and why didn't you do that? But when I'm teaching this and rolling this out to our garages, and usually we'll roll out again every winter just to make sure they're familiar with the website, we make sure we tell them, we want you to follow recommendations, and if you don't, you should have a reason why, because someone could ask you at any time, why didn't you follow the recommendations? And we want, we'd like a good answer, not just that's how we always done it kind of thing.
The reason I'm asking is because at times I've been asked by our executive management, they collect all for a month, for example, of what the MDS recommendations were, and then compare it to what we actually used. Then I have to explain how come it's different.
Right, yeah, you sold them the system, so you got to sell them and why you're following or not following the recommendations, right?
How much training is there for your operators?
As far as how to use the sites and the information?
Like do you have the turnover rate every year and things of that nature, and new operators and things of that nature?
We try to get to every garage before the winter season. Our goal is to go to all our garages, because we want to make sure our AVL sensors are all working prior to the winter season. So what we'll do is we'll go and we'll do an AVL winter inspection, and at that time we'll take advantage of being there and going over the website and the maintenance recommendations, and any new policies or anything new for this winter season that we want to share with them. So we try to do it yearly at every garage. And then we get a lot of requests to come back and say, hey, can you show us the website again? Or we're trying to do this. We forgot. I know it can do it. How do you do it kind of thing? So we field a lot of those calls throughout the winter season.